Hey there, folks. So, last episode, we tried to actually set up the interaction interface in game so that we could interact with the door. Through a few simple mistakes on my part, just because it's been a little while since I've worked with any of this, I didn't actually get the door up and working. We got very close, but we had ended off with me calling the interface incorrectly. So with that, I've gone through and fixed that there. We're going to quickly build this project, and hopefully this won't take too long. In the meantime, that built. We're going to launch the editor again just to make sure. Launch the editor from Visual Studio just to make sure we can debug. But in the meantime, I have done a little digging. I still haven't come up with an answer as to why, when we were using a pure blueprint class, this was failing, the casting to the interface. I do still need to do a little bit more digging into that just to make sure and see if I can figure out what is actually going on. I will try and provide an update at some point. However, in the interest of keeping these episodes going, I didn't want to waste too much time digging into that just yet. So, anyways, because we stopped the editor without saving it from our last one, the door itself that we had created last episode didn't get saved. It's gonna that's gonna open that way. So we want it to open away from the character. So I'm gonna save it this time. Now let's try this one more time. So as you can see right from the start, that line trace isn't happening. We're going to get closer to the door, and it's right around here. You can see the line trace starts happening, and that little red dot is where the line trace hit. So we're up here. We're going to hit interact. Okay, so the interaction actor is the door. We did successfully get the interface, and we called execute. Oh, there we go. So obviously, because that breakpoint, we missed it. So let's stop that. I'm going to get rid of that breakpoint so we can actually see this working in real time. Drop it to the editor. We'll go back in here. All right, so let's run over. We'll get our line trace showing up. We'll make sure it's hitting the door, and we'll hit F. And there you go. You can see our door open, and we can walk through. And this particular door, it's still collision blocking. We'll hit it again, and the door closes. So now, depending on your game, sometimes you may want to display pop-up text, like a little helper text for the interaction event. The one that comes to mind for me is like Skyrim. It pops up a little thing, pick this up, open this, close that, search that. So we did start adding some of that functionality in, and I'm personally up in the air as to whether I want that in my game. I'm actually thinking I might make that a configuration item, which is configuration items like that is something we will cover much later in this series. We're still working on the very foundational aspects of the game. But anyways, for that help text, so we can use that at least for debugging, what we're actually going to do, third person character, blueprints, into our BP third person character, because we added a function to this class for just this reason. And function override, update interaction text. So we're going to do that there. So interaction actor valid. So as long as this is valid, which that's the same as is this a null pointer? If it's not valid, one way. If it is valid, we want to do something else. So if it is valid, we want get interaction. Okay, why? That's no. Okay, why is it not giving me the interface function. What is that called? Get interaction text. Okay, why is it not giving that to me? So, no, we want get interaction text. Cast direct foliage, add interaction. Apparently that's not even in the blueprint library. What? Because it's right. It's a function, get interaction text. Okay, this is weird. Interaction. No. Did I miss making that a blueprint callable function by chance? Interaction interface. Blueprint native is interactable. Get interaction text. It's right there. Well, let's see. New function blueprint callable. I think that's actually going to cause an error when we try to do that, but this is not making sense to me right now. Let's get rid of the content browser. Let's try a live code event. See what it says. Build failed, missing, new function implementation, function. This function, what? You function. Yeah, that's what I thought. So, why is that not? Okay, that is confusing me. However, we're going to do just something. Cast to BP door base. And let's just see. I just wanted to see if this would get interaction text. No, text. Context sensitive. What is going on here that these are not? Graph is not editable. Did I screw something up in the door class? No, because it's interface, get actor idea. That's it. Those are all. Yeah, those are all expected. Let's just. Okay, this is a little weird. It's not letting me call that interface. But it's available there. Okay, let's put this back to context sensitive, get enter. Why? Maybe it's because it's a live code. Let's just save this. We're going to close out of all of this. Something is going on here that doesn't make sense, because we do have this function here that should be accessible and should be callable through blueprints. So let's rebuild everything here, make sure this is all working. And while this is building, just as I mentioned, and I've mentioned several times throughout the series, this is the sort of oddities I want to leave in so people can see the troubleshooting that goes on and what sort of things you need to look for and potentially what things you need to do. Because again, I found debugging tends to be one of the things people struggle at the most. Like they write code, it works once, and then they're like, okay, why didn't it work a second time? Why didn't it work a third time? Things like that. So okay, no, I don't want to move or copy. I clicked and then dragged and I thought I wanted to do something. So let's go third person blueprints, third person character, open this up, get enter action text. Okay, did I type that in wrong? Because this is making 0 sense. Get interaction text. Okay, I'm going to copy that. So in the editor, I'm going to right click, paste. Give it context sensitive. What the hell? Cast to BP door. We do not want to do this. This is just me troubleshooting. Get interaction text isn't there. Yeah, I know. Let's move out of there. Let's go back to our door. Interface, get interaction text. I'm just going to put debug. Okay, let's go back here. Get enter. What the heck? Graph is not editable, is interactable. No. Get interaction text. It's not even exposed to itself. Not marked as blueprint callable and cannot be placed in a graph. Did they change that with 5.4? Close and close the editor. Blueprint native event. Blueprint callable. Because I always found previously blueprint native event just made it so that it was blueprint callable. Or is that get interaction? Yeah, I'm not overriding anything there. Oh, okay. That is new. I will have to go through and fix a bunch of other calls then. So let's see if that actually makes a difference here. So that is a change that happened with 5.4. It's the first time I've been writing interfaces with 5.4, at least like this. So obviously I missed a very critical part. So we'll open up the door blueprint again, and we can do this really easy. Get interaction text. Come on. Thank you. Drag you over. There we go. Okay. That would be why. Compile and save, just because we made some changes here. And we're going to go back to our player character. Don't need that cast anymore, so get interaction. There it is right there at the top. Wow. So again, an example of here's a problem you run into. Why isn't it working? Well, there we go. Because it can be both blueprint native and blueprint callable, which seems a little odd that you have to add both, but also makes sense at the same time. So we're going to do that. Now, what we want to do quickly is, I'm just going to close out of this. In our very basic UI, we want to add some text. So we're going to, in our canvas panel, we're going to add another stack panel. I'm going to call this stat bars. This one is going to be action text. This one is going to be anchored into the center. We have X is 100, so we want minus 50 and minus 15 to keep it in the center. Text block. Let's see. Text block, we want this to be blank, is a variable, and action text value. And then what we want to do here is go into our graph. We want to, in the function, we want to click the plus sign and set action text. We want to give this function an input of f text, but we're going to say new text, f text. Don't need the f here, so we want text. And then where is action text value? Set text. And for ease, actually, I'm going to add another one, a Boolean value here of b show text. And what we're going to do here is branch. Actually, we don't even need a branch. Set visibility. Select. We're going to pull off the show text. So if it's true, it's visible. If it's false, we want it hidden. Compile and save. Go back to the designer, pick our text, and then visibility hidden. So we want it hidden by default. And then, so we're going to go back to our player character. And we need to do something with that original create widget logic we put up here. We're going to drag this over to the right, the add to viewport, right click on the return value for create dev basic HUD on the actual value, promote to variable, and R game HUD. Now the R here is just to indicate that it is a reference. We're going to change the flow path to here. We're going to remove that by clicking Control, drag that, and connect these two pins to set it up so that we're saving a reference to it, and then we're adding that reference to the viewport so that down here we can go game HUD, set action text, and we can have one go down here. We're going to duplicate this and go up here. And I'm going to set this to true. So just quickly to explain a couple of things in this. So what we're doing here is if we do have a valid interactable actor, and that is the one that we're hitting with the line trace, we're going to go through this flow path. It's going to grab the text from that actor, and then it's going to pass it through to our HUD, and we're saying show. If it's not valid, which means we're not hitting something, we're going to go down this path. We're setting the text to a empty value, not null, but empty. There's just nothing in there, and we're hiding it. So we're going to compile and save that. And I'm actually going to throw a breakpoint here just so that we know. Actually, no, we don't want to do that because that's going to, the first time our line trace hits the floor, we're going to throw it there. So I'm going to just save that quickly, move this out of the way, move the content browser out of the way. Thank you. And we're going to try this again. And as soon as that breakpoint's hit, I'll bring that blueprint window back over. So we're going to run over and see our line trace starts again. I'm going to jump up. Oh, well, we're not hitting that. Why is that not happening? So let's go back to our blueprint. Again, troubleshooting. So this is the update interaction text. So let's go back to our code, to our first player character. So update interaction text. I know exactly why. We're not actually calling it here. Oh, update interaction text implementation. So we want to call that in both cases. Actually, we can do that in a much more refined single point case. And just add that up here. Because we're happening both of the subsequent code flows, either if we're going through this if it failed or if it didn't. We're updating the text. So we'll just add that there. And that, so update interaction text implementation, that's calling down here, which is calling to the blueprint native event. So let us go back to the editor, move this out of the way again, do another live code update. So, and this is where the live code updates are useful. You realize you've made a minor mistake. You want to make sure that is going to fix the problem we're seeing. You make that minor code change, you run a live code edit just to make sure. And then, okay, let's run here. So hop up here and let's see. There we go. We have hit our breakpoint this time. So we have a valid actor, which is the BP door. We're going to step over and we've got a value of debug. So we're going to just continue, get rid of that. Yeah, and that's getting hit every time. So we're going to want to find a way to refactor that, but we'll do that a little later. So continue, and you can see there it says on the screen debug. So we're going to stop there. We're going to fix that so it's no longer the debug message. To do that, we're just going to open the door blueprint that we created. Bring this back over here. We're going to get interaction text. We're going to do a select text is open. So if it's true, we want it to be closed. If it's false, we want it to be open. Compile and save. And just for those wondering, save and compile. I have it save as long as the build was this compilation was a success. So we'll try this again and we'll just see. Hopefully this says open and close. So run up, we see our trace, it says open, it says close, open, close, and it refreshes whenever we do the interaction. So the reason for that is being updated on every line trace. So with that, we do want to find a way to improve that so it's not calling this function every single time. But what we're going to do here, we're going to make sure everything is saved. I'm just going to do a save all. You can see down here in the bottom right of the screen, it says all saved. There's nothing to worry about. I'm going to close the editor. Live coding is going to fail. I'll fail, close out. And we are back into Visual Studio. So a couple of things we're going to do here. I'm actually going to comment out. Actually, no, I'm going to add in a debug control for this. We're in the private section, right? Yeah. So edit anywhere. Bool debug show interaction trace equals false, and we're going to change this category to debug. And then over here in the player character, if show debug show, is that what I called it? Really, my brain's forgot already. Debug show interaction trace. Go over here, if debug show interaction trace with a single D. What? Undefined. Or is that just too big? Oh, semicolon. Wow. So if debug show interaction trace, so if that is on, so that is just something you can add in that allows us to, while in the editor, turn on and off the debug trace. Sorry, brain wasn't working there. So anyways, we wanted to go through and refactor the update interaction text use. So it's this one here. So how could we do that? So if it's not a blocking hit, or it doesn't, we want to do that there. Yeah, ultimately, I don't think there is a way to easily do this. You could go through and add some checks and balances of, okay, we need a variable to store the current text. We need a variable to store the current, or I should say a variable to store the interaction actor that is being displayed. Ultimately, that starts becoming a memory management issue where, again, we're talking a minuscule amount of memory, but as I mentioned before, this adds up. These small little bits here and there all add up. As the old saying goes, it's the straw that broke the camel's back. Things get added on, and when you start using the approach of, oh, it's just a little tiny bit here, it's not a big issue, you tend to start doing that everywhere, and it tends to result in, well, real bad memory usage. And honestly, looking at the code I've written here, it's already not the most efficient in memory. So ultimately, though, this particular case of once per frame we're calling this, I think the benefits of it outweigh the negative impact. It's very minuscule. We're casting to we're calling to an interface. We're not even casting so much. And from there, it's going, okay, grab the text, throw it on the screen. Whereas the checks and balances that would need to be done to not call this every frame would probably actually be more resource intensive than doing this every frame. So with that, though, folks, I actually think I'm going to end this episode here. We are actually finished up a little quicker than expected. And I know last episode took a little longer than expected just because of the problems we were having. So one thing I'll do before I'll build, we'll run the editor one more time just to make sure this change here actually works. I know my naming convention of the all capitals with the underscore space separator is pretty abnormal. However, the whole purpose for that is it needs to have a very glaring name so that it jumps out at you as like, oh yeah, this isn't something I should be messing with, or I should be, however you want to look at it. So, okay, our build was successful. Let's launch the editor quickly. And this is going to take, hopefully, not too much time. All right, there we go. So let's play. And we have that variable set to edit anywhere. So we should be able to just go character, third person character. And we should have in here, and this will be where we start putting all of our, actually I'm just going to type debug show interaction trace. So let's make sure this works. We'll go over, trace is there, shift F1 to get out, turn that off, move around. I know why. We're turning it on, but we never turn it off. So that is why. Let's close out, and we'll fix that quickly. When none all line traces where the trace tag match will be drawn. Let me just double check this one. I don't want to throw out some half-hearted attempt when I'm not 100% sure. So we want UE5 C++ turn off line trace. Disable blocking collision. Enable disable input line. Turn off line trace visualization. That's the one we want there. Communities popping up. So, and for a lot of people, this may seem a little weird, but this is what a lot of programming is. It's like, I'm not 100% sure how to do this. Google it. Get world line tracing. Okay, it seems a little all over the place, so here, let's just if else get world debug line trace debug draw. Helps if I get rid of my spelling mistakes. Draw trace tag equal, well, none. Oh, okay. Equals text. That's why. None. So we can actually filter that even easier. And hopefully this should work. So this is where sometimes it pays to just hover over something and read the description. Not everything within Unreal and a lot of code have this, but as we can see here, if I'd actually read it, the first time I hovered over it is when none, all line traces where the tag match will be drawn. So this should clear out that extra semicolon. Just because it's not needed. This should fix our issue. So and this is actually turning almost into a full-length episode again. So all right, so that build went through. And actually there's one other thing I'm going to show you guys just because I've seen it there, the logger. We did hit that a couple of times, so we should have some logging created. I'll show you specifically where to start looking for that during a like Visual Studio launched editor. Okay, let's just play. Okay, let's go through. We're going to run over here. Okay, you see the line trace isn't working. So character and debug. I'm going to show that. Start showing. Turn that off. There we go. So we added in that little flag so we can turn that on and off while playing. That way we can see, oh yeah, we hit this object. So let's make sure everything else is still working though. It is still open. Close. Door moved too quickly for me. There we go. So that is working there. Now, as I was just saying, we will take a quick look for our logging. So we're going to close out the editor because everything is working there. So right click, open folder in File Explorer. I'm just going to make sure, I'm pretty sure this is where it is. Actually, what did we call the file? So I know what I'm looking for. tflog. Underscore. Oh, I think that actually goes to the engine. TF log star dot star. Sorry, just I know I'm doing things off screen here with that. What I'm doing is I'm just doing a file search, but just for the interest of, well, keeping myself my stuff private, I am doing it off screen just for my own sanity. All right. Yeah, why am I not finding this? TF log star dot star. I'll do one final check on my other hard drive. There's only 3 hard drives it can be on, so. Okay, well, this is taking a little bit of time. I'm actually going to pause things, and once I figured out where it is, I will be right back. All right, folks, so it did take me a little bit to track it down. Let's close that out. So it is actually, because we're using the editor, it is in a bit of a weird place. However, so with that, it is in where you installed the version of your engine in the engine folder. Go back, binaries, so engine, binaries. In this case, because I'm running on Windows, Win64, and then it is, in this case, because it was TF log, so ABCQRSTS, scroll down, TF log, and there you can see that was for today, July 9th, 2024. We open this file up. I will just bring this over, and you can see there is a bunch of the error messages for failed to cast to interaction interface. So this is a sample of the log that we created a couple episodes back. So with that though, folks, I have nearly made this turn into a full-length episode. We have finished up the basic interaction component for this episode, and we will be moving on to, I actually don't know what's going to be in the next episode, so I'm going to spend some time thinking on where is the next point to go. We have a couple of different ways we can go. We could go through things like a day-night cycle. We could go through inventory. We can go through something I want to include in my game, thermal concerns. So that's like ambient temperature. I'm going to think about that. There's not enough of a community right now for me to worry about throwing up a poll. However, next episode will be something along the lines of one of those options I just mentioned. So, thanks again for watching, everyone, and I will catch you in the next episode.